Amendment 5 is the best way to move forward for growing our economy, growing our population, and quite frankly, providing opportunities for Missourians for generations to come. And what Amendment 5 would propose is that we phase out and eventually eliminate Missouri's income tax, putting money back into Missourians' pockets for them to have the buying power instead of a politician to choose to spend their money on their family and what their needs are that fits their needs the best.
So you have Governor Kehoe, the governor of the fine state of Missouri, saying it's a yes on Amendment 5, and we're here to talk about should it be a yes on Amendment 5. August primary coming up for Missouri voters next Tuesday, as I understand it, and I am here to play the role as the uninformed, uneducated. Hey, maybe I'll vote on Tuesday. I don't know. What are we even voting on? I thought we voted for president a couple years ago. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way people approach primaries. So we've got the experts in the room, of which Ryan and I are not. Marc Cox and Marc Reardon on the Andy Frey Show. Hi, guys.
Hey, good afternoon.
We got to get that microphone on.
Sorry, good afternoon.
He's new here. Marc
There's
Reardon.
no light over here.
Let's see how good you are at it.
Testing. Am I on?
There you go. Tuesday's the primary, right?
It is the primary. And unlike Illinois, Annie, you can't vote here. You may think you can vote anytime you want because you live in Illinois, but you have to be registered.
Yeah, but in the
Missouri.
city, I don't know about that, Cox. In the city, you could probably cast a ballot. They're not going to ask for anything.
Got to go to the right places.
Yeah.
All right, I want to give you each the opportunity to make the case for the person out there right now who might not be thinking, I got to make the time to vote on Tuesday. First and foremost, can you vote before Tuesday?
Yes, there's open voting right now.
Like you can
No
just go in
excuse
and
voting.
vote right now?
Yep.
Okay, because in
Yeah, you
Illinois,
can.
we would have been doing it for a year by now. So, Marc Cox, you go first. Just give me the elevator pitch for why people in Missouri should care about a primary election next Tuesday.
All right, it's important. There are 4 amendments on the ballot on Tuesday. You have to know what these are before you walk into the voting booth, because if not, you're going to be really confused by the very small print that they put on the ballot language. It will not fully explain what's going on here. And I've got a voter guide out at 971talk.com. You go there, and it's the first thing you'll see, and it explains all of these. The big ones, though, are Amendment 4 and Amendment 5. Amendment 4 would be reforming our initiative petition process. Right now, any billionaire in the world can come in and buy their way into the Missouri Constitution. It's wrong. It's why we have abortion on demand until birth. It's why we have medical marijuana and recreational marijuana, I would argue.
Thank God, too.
Well, there you go. However you feel about that, those would have had to pass in all 8 congressional districts, and it wouldn't have. I don't think it wouldn't have met that threshold. So what this sets is a minimum threshold, Annie. That's what it is. That says if you're going to amend the Missouri Constitution, let's get buy-in in every area. Before this, rural areas were ignored. On those major issues, they passed in about 8 counties out of 90, or however many we have in Missouri. So they passed in very few counties, but it just so happened to be the counties with the most population. In a low voter turnout situation, you can buy your way into the Missouri Constitution. So I am a yes on 4 for protecting that Constitution, and I'm a yes on 5. I won't speak for everyone. I am not just a Republican, I'm a conservative. And my entire life has been about paying less in taxes and restricting government, shrinking the size of government. You have a opportunity, and I don't know if it'll ever come around again in the state of Missouri, to decrease your income tax to 0 in the state of Missouri. I don't think we'll ever see that again. And people can complain, well, another tax is going to have to go up to make up for that. Well, it might, but it's not going to be. If you're a working human being in the state of Missouri, it's not going to exceed what you're already paying in income tax.
Marc Reardon, your elevator pitch for the reluctant or lazy Missouri voter come next Tuesday.
Yeah, well, we can get into Amendment 4 and Amendment 5 here in a moment. Now, I'm with Marc. I'm yes on both of them.
Marc and Marc, yes on 4 and 5.
But I'll put some caveats on that here in a second. We can discuss it. But the reason that this is an important election to vote in, I can take the amendments out of it because you have a really good St. Louis County executive race right now between Senator Brian Williams and Jake Zimmerman. And that race is just basically decided. Nothing against Dennis Hancock, who is a friend of mine. He's the Republican on the ballot. I'm encouraging people to grab a D ballot in St. Louis County because there's really nothing else that you can vote on. Dennis Hancock is going to be the Republican nominee.
I'm going to pull you back a little bit, Marc Reardon, because you're speaking at least at sophomore, junior level election stuff. You said you're encouraging people listening right now in St. Louis County to pull a D ballot.
Okay, I can explain that. Right. So you have a choice between a Republican or a Democrat ballot. I think there's a Libertarian and Green Party as well. But on some of those, you'll just get, in fact, I think you can just get, I was told this by Rick Stream, you can just vote on the amendments if you want to. So you can also ask that. You press a little button. They don't know what you're doing. But you are not, if you're someone who wants to vote for Republicans, generally, you're not limited. You can still pull the the ballot for the Republicans. Now, the opposite is true in St. Charles County. The big race there is for St. Charles County Executive. That is going to be decided in the primary between Bill Eigel, Jason Law, and Steve Ellman. So if I'm someone in St. Charles County and I want to say in who my leadership is for the next 4 years, I likely pull a Republican ballot because you will not, or I'm sorry, a Republican ballot because you won't be able to vote for those guys on the Democrat side, if that makes sense.
So you're saying if you're in St. Louis County, there's not really anything that you're going to vote for a Republican that's going to be consequential.
No. Now, that also depends on what Senate district you're in. I'm not going to say this is true for the entire state because, like, if you're in South St. Louis and this is a district that cuts all the way up to Clayton, Steve Butts and Gina Minton. That's one of the hottest races locally, right? Steve Butts is an incumbent. Gina Minton has gotten into trouble before with some things, and that's a tight race. Some people think that she can pull a surprise because of the abortion issue. So, again, if Republicans are in that district and they want to say between a conservative, common sense Democrat like Steve or Gina Minton, who's a radical lefty Democrat, well, the only way to have a say in that is by pulling a Democrat ballot because that's how you can vote on it.
In St. Charles County, of course, you're saying big county executive race
that's on
out
the Republican
there. So
side.
that's a separate thing talking about pulling a Republican or Democrat ballot. But overarching, pull a Republican ballot, pull a Democrat ballot, you get to vote on the amendments.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important. Now, I like to keep it real, and, Mark and I haven't discussed this, so I don't know what your opinion is. These are both going to fail miserably. I mean, it's not even going to be close.
The amendments?
Oh my God, it's going to be really bad.
You agree with that,
I'm not
Cox?
even convinced.
I don't agree with that.
Oh my God! All right, five's going to go down probably 3-1. Okay, that's how bad it is, and it's going to be bad for Governor Kehoe, and it's going to be bad for Republicans who push this.
Why?
Because the lies have worked. Look, I've got a guy that I've known for 30 years, Scott Charton, and he used to be an unbiased news reporter for the Associated Press. And he's running
Cox
a lot of this
disagrees.
campaign for, the anti-Amendment 5. Look, I'll give you a perfect example, Annie. And, Mark, I don't know how you think this is going to pass when you have the three candidates I just mentioned for St. Charles County Executive who aren't going to vote for it. Jason Law's against it. Bill Eigel is against it. Bill Eigel's against it, right? He says it's a tax increase. That's a lie. That's a lie. Steve Ellman's like, I don't know. He's like kind of in the middle there. So how in the world, if you have three Republicans, including a guy who was in the Freedom Caucus and Bill Eigel, who's not going to vote for Amendment 5, a lot of Republicans are against it. It is going to go down bigly.
Mark Cox, why can it go up?
If it goes down bigly, it's going to be the Republicans' fault. I would agree with Mark on that. But here's the thing about it. Somebody has bought into, this is the whole reason we need Amendment 4, is because people can come into the state, Planned Parenthood, several other dark money. The NEA from Washington, D.C. has poured millions of dollars in here against Amendment 4 and against Amendment 5. And what that buys them is those TV commercials that lie on a daily basis. And the radio commercials that air on this station that lie about Amendment 4 and Amendment 5 and what they do. And they've managed to turn conservatives against each other. They've managed to convince conservatives this is a bad thing. If you're a conservative and you're opposed to cutting income taxes, you need to do a self-check. I mean, you need to get a buddy check somewhere. I don't understand why anybody would be against that.
It sounds to me like, Mark Cox, you're advocating for the spirit and the rule of this law, and Mark Reardon, you are agreeing with it, but you're saying that the messaging is so negative towards it. You're just telling us what's going to happen.
On Amendment 5?
Not what either of them. Not what you want to happen, but what is going to happen.
Well, look, I'll give you an example, a specific example here. There's a Senate race in the state, and I pulled this audio. I'm going to play it a little bit later. There's a campaign. It's AI. It's like an AI country song. There's a guy named Rudy Fight who has released this radio ad that is hitting Jake Vogel because Jake Vogel, a Republican, supports Amendment 5. And the lyrics of the song say, doubling your taxes on gas and your food, even your doctor bill. Now, that's just rude. That's a complete lie. Governor Kehoe's made it clear it's not going to affect health care. right? You're not doubling your taxes on gas. That's utterly ridiculous. I challenge anyone out there who's against Amendment 5 to look at your freaking paycheck and see how much is confiscated by the state of Missouri. And then do a little math and think, how many things would I have to buy if the sales tax is marginally higher to hit 20,000, 30,000, whatever the number is? It's a lot of consumption, but the lies are working. That's the problem.
All right, we've got Marc Reardon and Marc Cox in studio with us right now. We're talking all things August primary.
Text in questions 314-241-9797. We're going to be doing this the rest of the hour.
I just have to say it's really bold of Ryan to wear his Land of Lincoln shirt here in the studio today. And also, if you weren't watching on the YouTube, you wouldn't have seen Marc Reardon's sign language for country music. He did a little air guitar. That was awesome. I like that.
Did I do that? I didn't even know I did it.
I think you nailed the G chord there on that.
That's
we'll be
good.
right
You're
back.
right-handed.
Marc and Marc with us when we come back.
I didn't even know I did that.
Go back and watch that. You're like, and then there's a country song.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
Point Pest Control. It's point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com. You've got pests in your home. You need Point Pest Control in your home to get rid of them. The important thing that I want to stress to you, along with calling 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023 and mentioning my name, Annie, to save 10%, is that the treatment that they do outside and around your home, as well as inside your home, is safe for all the people and the pets that are inside your home. It's just not safe for the pests that are inside of your home. If you've got ants, if you've got crickets, if you've got spiders, if you've got stinging types of bugs at your house, those are scary. Even if you've got signs of termites, Point Pest Control is there to solve the problem. So have them come out to your home and look at what you're dealing with. They're going to be able to tell you, in my opinion, way too much information about what kind of pests are in your home. I'm always like, I don't care, just take care of it. If we need to know something, tell my husband. I don't want to know about the bugs. I want them dead, gone by. 636-798-0023. Mention Annie and save 10%. 636-798-0023. Point with an E. Pointpestcontrol.com.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Tricia Burns never answers the call. Tricia Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Tricia Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Tricia Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the suicide prevention hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Tricia Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Tricia Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job.
Let's Go Brandon PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Chris Voss, Treasurer.
We started the show by talking about Anthony Fauci, and we will continue to talk about that throughout the day. But right now and for the rest of this hour, we are talking with Marc and Marc from the afternoon and morning show here on 97.1. Make sure you text in your questions, 314-241-9797.
Coming up at 1:45 on the show, Senator Josh Hawley will join us as well.
So now is your chance to get those questions in. We're talking with Marc and Marc. Amendment 4 and 5 is the topic. It is 12:37. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, where you going? The party just started. We're celebrating America 250 all year long on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Sponsored by Paramount Men's
Welcome back to the Andy Frey Show, special edition of the noon hour of a Wednesday show here. Meeting in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week with Marc Cox of the Marc Cox Morning Show and Marc Reardon of the Marc Reardon Show, who we hand off to every day here on 97.1 FM Talk. First question out the gate is going to be mine, but we are taking Ryan's looking at questions. He's got a few lined up here from you, the listener, on our text line, 314-241-9797. Marc Cox, what is being decided? Like, I think of a primary election as I'm choosing my horse in the race for November, which makes me think, well, I'll just vote for the Republican in November. Are there things being decided for good this coming Tuesday in this primary election?
Absolutely. There are two propositions in St. Louis County. There may be others in some surrounding counties.
By the way,
tax increases, by the way.
On the St. Louis County ones, does anyone even really understand
I
those?
don't think they do.
I looked at that, right. I don't know what they even mean.
Well, I do, and I mean, I can explain them if we have time, but those will be decided. All four amendments will be decided. And Annie, the reason they moved those to the primary is because we got Amendment 3 and several other big amendments to figure in November, and the ballot was going to be so long. The governor decided to move some of those for political reasons to August instead of waiting till November. So there weren't 7 or 8 amendments on the ballot potentially because there's
super overwhelming.
It would be overwhelming. So yeah, so amendments 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 will be decided by the voters next Tuesday.
What county do you live in, Marc Cox?
St. Charles County.
What county?
I'm in St. Louis County.
St. Louis County? Okay, interesting. Okay, do you have some questions from the text line?
Text line, absolutely. They have lots and lots, so I'm going to have to be choosy here. The first one that came in I do want to read, though. It says, of course it's not going to pass when you have a radio station that is all for Amendment 4 and 5, but you have commercials that are against it. How do you think people are not going to be confused by that? That's happening right now.
I know.
That's why we're having this discussion.
I think it's a valid point. You know, look, a lot of this, I think, you can put on the legislature for messing this up. And the governor went ahead with it, and he's going to have to deal with the consequences. But, yeah, it's confusing for people. Like, I have one listener out there who's like, wait, I was going to vote against 4 and 5, but the liberals are all against that. So now I'm wondering, why would I vote that if they're voting against it? So, yeah, people are confused.
From the outside looking in, the most definitive thing I saw to say vote for them as an Illinois resident was showing me all the people who are actively for it. It's like the socialists want you to vote no.
Yeah.
So I'm voting yes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I can't vote. I'm an Illinois resident, but that was like, that's all I need to know.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I would.
Confusing commercials on a radio station?
I've complained about that loudly on my show
we have
because
Pro 5
people want to
too.
know, why do you let that air
Yeah.
on your show? I'm like, well, first of all, I'm an employee
Yeah.
here. This is a commercial radio station. The reason is Andy often says you don't have to put a quarter in the slot to listen to us is because we're supported by
$1 now,
commercials.
thanks to Joe Biden.
Probably. And due to this particular fact that we're running these ads that are during a political season, I'm told by the boss, well, there's only certain things you can do if they pay the going rate during a political campaign, unless you can prove there's slander or something in the ad. The sales department's not going to pull it.
Yeah, those people
They're
have a
making money
right to
off of it.
purchase the public airwaves
They have a
as well.
right to purchase a spot on there, and we don't have any control over the content.
But we also don't have restrictions on what we can say about it.
Correct.
So we do, or you do.
I do,
I've heard
certainly,
it.
yes.
Another question from the line?
I'm going to lump two together here because they're getting at the same thing. The first one says, how will schools get funded if Amendment 5 passes? But then right afterwards, similar
School choice.
question.
It's just a suggestion.
Explain where the money is going to be replaced from. I don't see it with the income tax.
Well, okay, I can start it with the latter. We don't know. And that's part of the problem because it's given the opponents the opportunity to say what they're saying, which is taxes are going to go up on everything, right? So I would use their services. Look, I think I can make a case that there's some services out there that probably should be taxed a little bit. I'm getting a haircut, on Friday morning with my daughter. I have awesome hair. You guys know that. It's very important to me.
That's really the reason why we had you in here.
It
on
is.
this radio
Exactly.
show.
So I'm willing to pay maybe a little bit more on that. Now, I have clients and I have business owners that do not like this at all for their own personal reasons. So, I think, what was the first part of the question? The first part of the question
the
was
schools.
Oh,
How do you fund schools?
It won't.
It won't affect that at all.
Schools
It
at
won't
all.
affect that
Period.
at all.
Why, Marc Cox?
It's written right in there that it cannot. It doesn't impact what's going on in a school district. They're not going to. They're not going to increase the tax or decrease the tax in a school district. Whatever the taxes, whatever the school districts are currently charging,
that's a
for
local
personal
issue.
property tax is a separate issue from a sales tax.
Just do what Illinois does and borrow.
Well, one of look, we have a constitutional amendment that makes us balance our budget, right? So, but one of the lies, on all this stuff, they keep extending everything that is not true, and they put it into the campaigns, like some of the stuff that we're hearing on the air here just are not true, like I was indicating before. So I don't know how you fight that, really.
Well, here's what I'd say real quick is that one of the arguments is that it defies the Hancock Amendment. Way back in 1980, Mel Hancock, I think was his name.
I was here when that happened.
That was an initiative petition passed by the people that said if you take in more revenue than you need, that has to go back to the people, and you got a refund on your tax money, right? And somebody's arguing that this somehow overrides that. Not true. The Hancock Amendment is still fully in effect. You're never going to pay more taxes than you're paying today because they'd have to give the money back to you. And guess what? The part of the argument, Mark, that you made, that this is going to keep conservatives from passing big, bold conservative ideas. You know what the last big, bold conservative idea was that passed in Missouri on an initiative petition? The Hancock Amendment in 1980. We don't use it, is the point. So if that's your reason for voting against it and you bought into the lies in these ads, you need to reconsider your vote.
Yeah, so what happens here is that the income tax phase out, again, this isn't something that's going to, if it passes, we're not zapping it next year, right? It's what, at 4.5%? It's going to phase out, and there have to be, other answers with limits. So once that's triggered, it really steps down, and this is Eric Burleson saying this, it steps down as state revenue grows past an inflation-adjusted benchmark. So it can't outrun the economy. So on the school issue, that is expressly protected. And one of the other lies that we've had for decades here in Missouri from lawmakers, Democrats, is that Republicans are failing to fund the schools. The education budget goes up every year, usually by astronomical numbers. So we have this weird thing called the foundation formula in Missouri, which gets very complicated, but this is not going to affect education at all. Is it in some of the ads against it? Probably.
Okay, so we've got Marc Cox and Marc Reardon in studio with us right now. The text line is open, 314-241-9797. Boys, I'm going to ask Ryan to ask you a question, but you can't answer it until we come back.
We're doing
I have
radio.
to take a break.
We're doing a tease.
Please. I love that.
Okay.
And we're doing radio when we talk about it.
Yeah, this is the question for you guys to ponder over the break. We'll answer when we come back. It says, how can you justify, and is this a lie? I mean, that's the question. How can you justify shifting the taxes to the elderly, poor, disabled, military, and students? That is the question.
Well, we will get an answer from Marc and Marc in just a few minutes. Keep it right here. Send us your feedback as well in the text line, 314-241-9797. You can watch the show on the Annie Frey YouTube channel as well. Keep it right here on 97.1 FM Talk. We'll be right back. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com is ready to help you get that wet basement dry once and for all. It's important when you hire someone to do this big of a job that you hire someone you can trust, someone who has the integrity, the reviews, the experience, and we think that's Matt Hayes. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com will talk to you about everything that he does for your foundation repair needs. From a project as big as restoring the integrity of your foundation when you've had a shift somewhere, or water making its way into your basement, taking space that should be livable or storage use space in your basement, you've had to block that off because you just have to deal with the water all the time. Something as simple as a one-day fix on that uneven concrete on your patio, your walkways, maybe at church, your place of business. It needs to get leveled out. You know it's a liability, and heck, you don't want to trip over it either. Reach out to Home Shield Foundation Repair and have Matt Hayes come look at what you're dealing with and give you a solution that you can trust. 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Online at HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Marc Cox here. Want to see Foreigner and Leonard Skinner at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater? They're coming on August 6th. I want to send you. Listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show every day this week from 5 to 9 for your chance to win.
I'm Bill Eigel. I'm a no on data centers. Last year, when a new hyperscale data center was up for a vote in St. Charles City, I'm the only candidate for county executive who stood with you in opposition. Meanwhile, Steve Ellman was writing op-eds in support of data centers. In fact, he spent $400,000 of your taxpayer money to identify 6 locations just for data centers in St. Charles County. I'm Bill Eigel, and if you don't want data centers in our county, then I'm asking for your vote on August 4th.
Paid for by Eigel from Missouri. Lisa Borchers, Treasurer.
Travis Wilson here, State Representative from District 106 in St. Charles, Missouri's first state capital. I wanted to remind everyone that we have a crucial primary election coming up on Tuesday, August 4th. No excuse, in-person voting has already begun, and I'd appreciate your vote to continue my service for the great people of St. Charles. For more information on early voting or to learn more about me and the important issues facing Missouri, visit me on Facebook at Wilson for St. Charles. Thank you, and may God continue to bless the state of Missouri.
Paid for by Wilson for St. Charles. Merle Schneider, Treasurer.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We've got Marc Cox and Marc Reardon in studio here and have for 3/4 of the hour here. And if you didn't get to hear the whole conversation, I encourage you to go check out the Annie Frey Show podcast so that you can hear the whole thing. Of course, you can watch it on the YouTube channel as well. We've got the text line is on fire right now, 314-241-9797. Ryan, you set us up before we went to the break. We're going to have Marc Cox answer first, Reardon go second. Give us that question.
The question, of course, is very presumptive. It said, how can you justify shifting the taxes to elderly, poor, disabled, military, and students? Marc Cox.
Why do you want to strap the working people in the state of Missouri? So I understand the sensitivity of that, and I've had people say, I'm on a fixed income.
Is there truth to it?
Well, there's some truth to it. I mean, because sales taxes will go up a little bit. There's nothing in the law that dictates what is going to be raised to make up for the different. And remember, like Marc said, it's a slow phase out on this. As revenues rise, they will determine where that income's coming from. There's also nothing in there that says you're going to pay more at the grocery store, or there's going to be a fee at your doctor's office or whatever. Nobody knows what it might be.
On the physician part, that's been ruled out by the governor.
Right. The governor said he's not going to push for those things. I talked to a state representative from Kansas City last night at an event, and she said they're not going to vote for that. They're not going to do things that are going to hurt our seniors. Now, right now, 4.2 is it 4.2 or 4.7% in Missouri right now? The state income.
I think it's 4.7.
Okay, and let's assume that goes up by 2%, right? Just in general, if it goes up by 2%. If you're making $100,000 a year as an a worker, you're going to save $4,700 a year in taxes. You might spend $1,500 or $1,600 more on that sales tax over the course of a year. The bottom line is you get to determine how you're spending your money.
Math
not
dictates
the state.
You win that way.
You win.
Yeah.
You come out ahead in that. And plus, Missouri is behind the 8 ball here. 5 other states already have no income tax. There are 6 others that are in the middle of the phase out right now. We're going to eventually be locked out. If we don't pass this, we're going to be one of those big blue states that has a higher income tax rate, and Oklahoma and all these states that surround us and Tennessee that border us are going to be going to zero.
Reardon, that question, Ryan, real quick, just sum it up. So Reardon,
well, no, I got it here. Look,
okay.
Retirement income is taxed in Missouri. If you have Social Security, it's exempt. If you have a pension that is public, it's exempt. If you have a private pension, which I actually have a couple of those, that is taxed as Missouri income. I got very lucky in Milwaukee because I worked for a private company. IRAs and 401ks, they're taxed as state income. So that's a lie about older people. On the younger side, are college students not working? They get taxed. There's tax pulled out of their paycheck for the state, and they can choose, like Marc said, what they're going to buy. Now, there's things out there. Like, I had a realtor that was from Jeff City that put something on Facebook. I see these people all the time, and she's like, the price of a $300,000 home, you're going to pay $43,000 more if this passes.
Yeah, that's the real estate transaction is the one that I see a lot.
They are so full of absolute crap, and they've wasted their money on this because, look, I bet this, I don't even know this woman. I said, I'm going to bet you $43,000 that will never happen. You know why it will never happen? Because it will never happen. Some of this is common sense. People aren't thinking through this. Who in the Republican legislature is going to vote to tax real estate at anywhere near that rate? No one. Nobody is. So use your brain a little on some of this. That's
Ryan,
all I'm saying.
Well, a lot of people just saying thank you. This is great, and this is good talk radio.
How come you don't text that when it's just me?
Well, because it's not as good.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Do you see what I deal with every day?
Fired.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Wigginshire.
Well, you guys aren't new to this. This is what we do every day. I tell her she stinks.
He wants my job.
So what I'm hearing basically, and I'm kind of summing up a few questions because they're coming in so fast, sometimes I can't keep up with the screen right now.
So who sucks at their job?
Annie.
Say it from the back.
Yeah. So when people are talking about all these things, because a lot of people are asking, well, what about if this goes up? What about this? This is where I'm at. Are we forgetting that you're actually reducing an actual tax here? with the theoretical tax going up in the future.
Yes, that's what people are doing.
And I'm trying to summarize because there's so many of them. But what people are asking is, am I trading in one tax for another for sure or not? No, it sounds like the answer is no.
Well, no, the answer is yes, because if you're getting rid of the income tax, but you're paying a little more in sales tax, it's not a new tax. You're paying a little more in sales tax. If they put on a user tax of some sort, yes, it may be some kind of a new tax. Most people who work for a living, it's going to be neutral or to your benefit, in my opinion, like the example that I used before. That's what I believe. Mark? Thoughts?
Yeah, I believe that too because it's math. But look, people are going to have to do the math equation, right? And unfortunately, the legislature screwed this up. I really do. They put the cart before the horse. They gave the opportunity for people out there to say, well, we don't know what's going to be taxed, mainly because they don't know what's going to be taxed. Oh. So that was one of the flaws. They could have done it otherwise. They could have done it statutorily as well. But again, I'm just really feeling like this is going to go down pretty significantly next week.
Okay. Another one, and I'm summarizing a couple different people's comments here. In 30 seconds each, can you give a pitch to somebody who is retired that it would be good for them to get rid of income
30
tax?
seconds.
Because a lot of people are saying, well, I'm retired, it's not going to affect me. If prices go up on sales, I don't have income right now.
That it's going to affect them.
Yeah.
No, I see people voting their pocketbook. I mean, it's the economy, stupid. I mean, we've heard that argument for years. I understand that, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen. This is going to be gradual, and the economy is going to grow in the meantime. They're only going to raise taxes where they absolutely positively need to. We do not have a supermajority of Republicans in the state of Missouri chomping at the bit to raise your taxes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's bottom line there. But it offers the opponents a window to say, we don't like this, it's a little backwards. And I understand that complaint. On older people, I would say, look at your tax return. I mean, did you pay Missouri income tax, and how much did you pay? And then think it through with what the sales tax might be.
I think you guys have done a great job. I mean, obviously you're doing this on your shows individually, but I think the discussion, all I'm getting from a lot of people here on the Andy Frey YouTube chat, what you're getting on the text line, what I've seen on X quite a bit, is that people are confused by it. But if people trust you, Marc Cox, in the morning, and you, Marc Reardon, in the afternoon, if they listen to you and they trust that you understand these things, you guys are yes on 4, yes on 5, you agree.
I got a question, Reardon.
Yeah.
I keep getting the complaint that I must have been paid off to support either one of these. You getting any extra cash? Because
I wish
I'm sure
I was.
not.
I wish I was. Look, a lot of people that we know that are against this.
Who would suggest that?
Going back to your comment from the very beginning of the show, for me, this is an opportunity.
Yes.
We have an outdated tax code. This is an opportunity that might not come again. By the way, one question. Don't we get comp days for working this hour?
I think
you and
we
I?
do.
Okay, good. I just
We
want to
should
make
be
sure.
off tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Thanks,
I
Annie.
volunteer Ryan Wiggins' tribute to do both of your shows, but you don't get mine off.
I might do that, though.
Take it. Run with it.
That was fun.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, you guys come back again, and let's have more conversations like this. I really do appreciate your time because you guys are both spending time talking about things that I know you're talking about on your show. Would love to talk to you guys both about Anthony Fauci. For people who want to hear what Marc and Marc think about that, do not miss the Marc Cox Morning Show tomorrow morning, starting at 5 a.m. through 9 a.m. right here on 97.1. And of course, you're gonna be loaded for bear, Marc. Right?
Oh, I know. I can't wait to hear what Senator Hawley has to say on your show because that was quite something this morning.
It
Thank
was.
you, Annie.
Thank you both, Marc and
Thanks.
Marc. We'll be right back. Don't go